Hello everybody, welcome along. It's Tuesday night, which means it's TGP1. Welcome to the TGP series. You join us live from Texas, where the sun is going down, but the sun is very much not setting on this championship just yet. We've got 2 weeks to go, and we've got two fantastic races lined up for you tonight at the Texas Motor Speedway, and then, no, it's not the Texas Motor Speedway, it's a Circuit of the Americas, and then we're heading off to Interlagos for the second race of the night. I'm Mike Noon, and joining me in the commentary box is Owen Quimby. Owen, hello, good evening, welcome, and we are surely due another fantastic night of TGP1 action.
Yep, hello, welcome. I am in the commentary box at COTA, not at Texas Motor Speedway. That's
it'd be quite a long connection if you were.
Yeah, look, it's changed a lot if it was Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, it certainly
anyway,
has.
Yeah, I'm all good. We're ready for another night of TGP1.
Yep, I think we all are, really. We've got a fantastic championship that we've had. Obviously, last week you would have seen us racing around Suzuka and then around the Losail International Circuit, where we had two very good races, very interesting races, but in the end, the result was pretty inevitable, really, with the man you're watching on screen at the moment, the soft cop, coming away with two race victories, which gave him the lead in the championship, which he now holds over New Zealand Cam by 15 points. 245 to Softy, 230 to Cam. So the Red Bull and the Ferrari driver's the one to watch out for tonight. And with just under 5 minutes left to go in this qualifying session, let's give you a quick rundown of the provisional order, because it's the Confessor in the McLaren who is your provisional pole sitter, as Johners has very timely just put himself into P2 with a very good lap in his Aston Martin. Then it's Cam, second in the championship, third in qualifying at the moment, with Softcop in P4. We saw him just coming around to complete his flying lap when he joined us live. Then we've got Dan the Man, Machine Island and Jovial Manatee. Evan Dalton, a former TGP1 pole sitter in Canada. Matt Tibbos in 9th, Alistair Bain 10th. Aidan Griffiths is 11th with Joe Corboy. He's brand new to the series tonight, currently in 12th. Court Gill, the man we're watching on screen at the moment on his outlap in P13. Mr. Chiapelli 14th. 15th for Dom Smith. Wet Lemons is 16th with Jack Pearson 17th. Kong Hoffner 18th. And rounding out our order at the moment in 19th is Dan Morris, who hasn't yet set a lap time, and also a man who has taken one pole position in TGP1, also in Canada. So, Owen, 3.5 minutes left to go in this qualifying session. A lot of drivers in the pits, but we'll start to see them flooding out of the garages in the next few moments or two. What can we expect still to see from this qualifying session? You've got to be careful on the white lines around here. Is that going to play a big factor to how a lot of these drivers approach qualifying?
Yeah, I think track limits is going to be a key issue with people on their final runs. It's very important around here to it's important around every circuit to stay within the track limits, but especially here because it's so easy to get a track extension or a quarter cut penalty and invalidate your lap.
Yeah, well, I'm sure a lot of the drivers will be hoping they're not ones falling foul to that. We've still got our main runners. Cam has actually left the pits now. He's going to be the first one of the top four to set a lap time. We're still waiting for the Confessor and Soft Top to come out. We're still watching Court Gill at the moment, who's just coming to the end of Sector 1. And there's Alpine. We're going to get a split one time for him in just a few moments. He's got a little bit of traffic in front of him. We didn't get a split one time, actually. Not sure why we didn't get that, but nonetheless. So Court then, as he's making his way on the back straight towards one of the heaviest braking zones on the track. Obviously, turn 1 is probably the tighter of the corners, but with it being uphill, you're helped so much in the braking zone. But, in this corner here, you can make or lose a lot of lap time here, can't you?
Yeah, you really can. It's very important around this circuit to try and gain as much as you can. There's a lot of slow speed corners, and to be honest, slow speed corners are actually the corners you need to get right more than the quick stuff.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm sure a lot of drivers are working that into their minds when they're planning their quick laps around here. The traffic doing very well to get out of Court's way. He's just got one corner to go. Currently in P13. He's had a bit of an inconsistent season thus far, Court, but he finished 4th last time out, and this lap, it's only good enough for 11th. He won't be pleased with that one.
Yeah, he definitely won't be pleased with that one, the Dutchman, as we see Cam just starting the flying lap now, as he's the first of the lead runners going on to their final run.
Yep. We'll cut to Cam in just a few moments' time as I get myself resorted again. And here he is. So, the Ferrari driver then. Let's ride on board with him as we get a lap of this, very entertaining circuit. This first sector is full commitment. It's designed on the Maggotts-Beckett sequence at Silverstone, and it certainly throws up a challenge for the drivers as he weaves his way through the first few sectors, a few corners I should say. But Owen, look at that split one time. He's a tenth and a half up and he's purple.
Yeah, he's looking very good in that first split. I'm just going to ride on board down the man, see if there's any split there. I think I've just missed that, but Cam looking very good so far. Softy just starting to fly lap as well.
So Cam then applies the power for the main straight, and we will get a second split time for him at the moment. The DRS is open. He's got a car, I'd say just out of the way. Might get a little bit of slipstream, but that will potentially give him some dirty air as he heads through the long right-hander we got coming up. But look at this, he's 2 tenths up. A little bit wide on the entries to the stadium, it must be said. And the power he gets on too much. And the rear end was almost giving up, but it didn't give up enough. And the man who's currently second in the championship holds on and off. The McLaren gets out of the way in front of him. That's Dom Smith. But we have a few corners to go. Cam is putting himself in a good position to take provisional pole. 2 corners to go. He keeps it in the white lines. No, he doesn't. It's invalidated his lap time. And Cam is going to be no better than third. Owen, how are the others getting on?
Dan the man's a little bit down. Confessor's just coming into the end of Sector 2 now. Just keep an eye on him. He's a tenth and a half up. Softy coming to the same point. They're basically nose to tail on the circuit. Softy not as much up. So, Confessor looking very good. 2 tenths up on his previous best. What about Dan the Man? Dan the Man's finished. He's gone 5th. So it's between the Confessor and Softy for that pole position now.
Yeah, this is a really good opportunity for Softy, who could demote his championship rival to 4th and potentially put himself on the front row. Jonas is going no quicker, but at the moment, it's the Confessor who's got half a second buffer on the rest of the field with 1 corner to go and the short run to the line, and he extends that advantage to almost 7 tenths of a second. Here comes Softy, but he can't improve on 4th. He found time, but he stays in 4th place. And although not the end of the world, I'm sure not as good as he would have liked to have been. A little bit further back, we got Machine Island. He's invalidated his lap time. Jovial Manatee is coming to the last couple of corners, although I don't think he's definitely not improving. Matt Tibos then, last couple of corners. Let's see if he can improve in the Haas. Just 1 corner to go. The man is currently down in 9th place on a 1 minute 33.0. Is this going to be any improvement on time or position? It's an improvement on time, but not position. And unless Dan Morris can pull something wild out of the bag, that is it.
That is it. Yeah, Confessor on pole position then for McLaren. Jonas lining up on the front row just ahead of Cam. And Softy in 4th. But it's very tight between that 2nd, 3rd and 4th group.
Jonas obviously has had quite a consistent season thus far. He's had a couple of podiums, but no wins yet, no poles. But that will please him, that front row start. You know, the former TGP1 champion, let's not forget. Will he fancy his chances in this race, or will he feel a little out of place?
I think Jonas has been fairly competitive this season. He hasn't always shown the raw pace on some circuits, but he's been there or thereabouts, more so than he has on previous games. So I think Jonas is probably about where he should be.
Well, we shall but see. But for the moment, at least, we've got the Confessor, who is our pole sitter. Yes, another pole position for him this season with Jonas in P2. Cam was 3rd place with Softy in 4th. Dan the Man in P5, Evan Dalton, Machine Island and Jovial Manatee completing an all-Irish 6th, 7th, 8th. Then we've got Matt Tibos on 9th, and rounding out the top 10 we've got Alistair Bain. Court was 11th with Aidan Griffinton 12th, Dan Morris is 13th. Joe Corby, or Corboy even, on his opening night in TGP1 was 14th, Mr. Chippelli 15th, Dom Smith 16th, Wet Lemon 17th, 18th was Cong Hoffner, and Jack Pearson rounded out our order in 19th. So, Owen, obviously tyre wear is quite a big issue around this circuit. What can we expect in terms of strategy? I feel like I ask you this every time you're in the commentary with me, and it's always the same sort of answer. It's mediums and, no, it's not, because we've got a wet race. So, forget that. I mean, how does this...
forget that? There's been... I know at Spa in TGP2 last season, the Inters, if it was an Inter race, couldn't do the full distance. So there may still be some strategy in this race. Not a given, but there may still have to be a little bit of strategy, depending on how the tyre wear is for the drivers.
But will that really change to the two? What I mean is, everyone's just going to be pitting around the same time, aren't there? There's not going to be people, say, pitting on lap 3, unless it dries up or gets wetter. But if it's like this the whole way through, are we not just going to see everyone pit at the half distance?
If they feel like they need to pit, they will. If they won't, Some may risk it and pit for fresh tyres and see if they can make up advantage. I think it's either going to be no stop or a one stop as the lights come on.
Well, let's see. We got 4 and 5 lights now in Texas. And they were held for a long time, but we're underway now, and it was a good start, I have to say, from Softy, who looks like he's already got the jump on Cam. And as they rise up the hill, Jonas has gone very defensive, but we're focusing on the battle for 3rd and 4th. It's Softy and Cam. Softy's up the inside, the two of them side by side, and on the exit of the corner, it's the Ferrari who's got the advantage. They rub wheels on the exit, but for the moment at least, Cam is in 3rd place, but Softy's still there on the inside. He has to use a lot of the curb. They're still side by side, but Softy finally makes his way into P3 as the Confessor leads the order from Jonas. Softy in 3rd and Cam is in 4th, with Dan the Man now looking like he's going to challenge him. Machine Island's up to 6th as we've lost Evan Dalton, who's fallen down the order now in P10. But look at this, Cam's coming back at Softy, and they almost make contact, and he almost loses the back end. Cam almost got too good a run, but now he's up the inside, and as they make their way onto the back straight, Cam, for the moment at least, has made his way back into 3rd as we've got a spinner in the background.
Yeah, it looked like Dan Morris had a little bit of a spin to the background, but a very exciting start between Cam and Softy. Dan the Man is all over the back of Softy as well, and Machine Island looking for a move as well. Is Dan the Man going to stick it up the inside of turn 12? No, but he's side by side with the Williams driving behind as they filter through towards this twisty section at the end of the lap for the first time.
Yeah, the drivers starting to set themselves down now as Machine Island getting all out of shape coming into the stadium. Over back, we got Matt Tibos making a move up the inside of Jovial Manatee. Jovial Manatee running a little bit wide and getting a little bit squirrely, but Matt Tibos not being able to put the power on, but he's going to try and go the long way round here. Runs a little bit off-road, and once you get wide here, you can't seem to stop yourself. And now he's being put under pressure from Alistair Bain, but he just about keeps the Scotsman at bay.
He does indeed. Meanwhile, further up the field, Softy all over the back of Cam now. I think he's settled in after that poor start there, and now he's looking to try and make a move on that Ferrari driver. Meanwhile, Cam is actually getting closer to the back of Jonas, so we've got a nice little battle brewing for P2 as it's 1.5 seconds up the front for the Confessor.
Yeah, the Confessor's gapping himself nicely now, and Cam is trying to, as you said, turn his attention towards John and maybe try and put a car between himself and Softy. That would be a good strategic play to do so. Oh, and Softy, he sends it up the inside, and Softy spun around. He seemed to come from nowhere, and the man who's leading the championship is sent tumbling down the order. And I have to say, he's only got himself to blame. But look at this, Owen. He's gone from 4th to 17th.
All I can say to him is, you're a blithering idiot. What were you trying to do there, Softy? Honestly, it's a corner you don't really make an overtake in. You're never going to get up the inside, and you just stuck your nose in where it didn't belong, and you deserved what you got there.
This is throwing the championship wide open, though, Owen. This is huge. You know, Softy's down now in 17th place on a wet track, where, you know, I very much doubt we're going to have DRS, but look at this. Further ahead, we've got Cam, who's putting pressure on Jonas now, and you almost want to say to Cam, I mean, he'll know where Softy is, but just take it easy. You know, 15 points is the gap between him and Softy, and yes, he's going to want to gain as many points as he can on him, but also, he cannot afford to end up in the wall or the wrong way round.
Yeah, it's just keep your head, think about it. It's a long race still. There's still, what, 12, 13 laps to go? You're in a title fight. Just take what you can get. Just think conservatively, especially as he's in the position where he is, where he's leading the championship. Confessor's just set the fastest lap, and he's grown his lead to 3 seconds. Yeah,
Confessor is checking out at the front. He's doing a great showing in the McLaren, and as we complete lap number 2, Softcop, our championship leader, is in 16th place, giving Court company, and Cam is in P2, and he's trying desperately to make it P2 and get ahead of Jonas, because Jonas putting in a great race at the moment. He had a fantastic qualifying session, but at the moment he's giving Cam a bit of a headache.
He definitely is giving Cam a headache, but Cam is all over the back of him. These two, well, if we looked at the qualifying times in the dry, yes, it's the dry. They were very close to each other in Jonas, Cam and Softy, all on pace, very close to each other, covering by less than a 10, and it's proving that way even in the wet as well.
Cam getting very close to the back of that Aston Martin, but surely on this main straight now he'll fancy his chances. Surely he's using the overtake, and could Jonas be assisting? I have to say, if Cam got past John here, I think he'd be in a good place to go up the road, and John's going very defensive, but Cam says thank you very much, I'm moving up into P2, I'm going to get my head down, and I'm going to make it my only mission to make as many points up on Softy as possible. That was brave, that was ballsy, but Owen, it was brilliant.
Yeah, it was the right move. Of course, no DRS in these wet conditions as well, so he only had to rely on pure straight line speed and his overtake, so a bit more of an old school move than we're normally used to in Formula 1 these days. But great move. John has just about gave him the space. He made it stick up the inside, and it was a great move for Cam. Meanwhile, Wet Lemons is out of this race.
Well, I was just going to say, Softy's moved his way up into 14th place, which is a point, but after that retirement for Sean, that is now 13th place, so 2 points. So, Softy beginning his recovery mission, and next on the hit list is going to be Kong Hofner, who is embroiled in a battle in front of Mr. Chiapelli.
Down the inside of Dan the Man. Sorry to interrupt you there, but they're side by side going around turn one. They're still going to be side by side on the exit. No, Dan the Man just about holds on, but this is a nice little battle brewing for fourth and fifth.
Yep, good work there from the two of them, keeping things entertaining on track as Aidan Griffins picks up a penalty a little bit further back, but looking further back, Mr. Chiapelli is a bit of a cork in the bottle here because he's holding up Joe, he's holding up Kong, who in turn is holding up Softy, and Softy is going to try a repeat of the move he made in lap 2, and he's done it again! He's done it again! I cannot believe this! The championship leader, the multiple TGP1 champion, has made the same mistake as he did on lap 2. Just 2 laps later, he doesn't learn. He doesn't learn. That is stupid. Why is he making that move in the position that he's in, Owen?
I've lost for words. He's in a championship fight. He doesn't need to be being that aggressive, especially after the first instance where he did it first time round. He's done the exact same thing again, and he's just been a fool, frankly.
I can't believe what we're seeing. I've never seen Softy crumble like this. This is extraordinary, but he's a mess.
Yeah, he is. He's been having too much apple crumble, I think.
He's having too much something. Oh, goodness me. Anyway, Court Gill has just made his way up into 13th place. And meanwhile, Luca is still being a pain for those in front of him. But even further up, I have to say, Jean, who was looking so comfortable in second place earlier, has lost 2.3 seconds to Cam and is now, well, I'm sure, keeping an eye only in his mirrors, Owen, but down the man behind.
Yeah, Dan the Man all over the back of him. Is he going to try and move up into turn one? No, he thinks better of it. He's going to probably try the back straight. But yeah, Johners has dropped off a lot from Cam. He was holding him up quite nicely and just keeping with him. Even when Cam pulled off that overtake initially, there's a nearly yellow flag. That's Joe.
That's Joe.
Further down the field. But further up the front, Dan the Man all over the back of Johners. And it's a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, John had great pace in qualifying. Maybe Dan picked up a penalty. Maybe focusing that setup too close to the dries, and now the rain's come, it's struggling a little bit more. Not sure, but nonetheless, John not in a good place on the track at the moment. Well, he's in a good place on the track, but he's not in a good place in terms of his grip that he's got out there. But I'd say of all of these three, Machine Island's looking the most racy.
Well, Machine Island's not got a penalty either. Just to mention, Dan the Man has got a penalty in this race as well. As Dan the Man looking for a move on Jean into turn 12. Can he make his dig? He's going to look to the outside. Can he go all the way around the outside? Johners is just about going to give him the space. He's going to show him to the curve. Johners gets squirrely on the exit. But I think Dan the Man's got the move done. Yes, he has. He's up into P3, but now he's going to try and shoot off with that penalty as well.
Yeah, it's important now that he gets his head down, Dan, and tries to put 3 seconds between himself and John, but obviously he's got to be careful just in case he gets any more penalties as well. So, it's all going off here at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, as Softy, your championship leader, let's not forget, in 16th place at the moment, in being involved in 2 incidents with 2 different drivers at the same corner, 2 laps apart. Thankfully, he got through the last lap without incident there as well, as Machine Island now turns his attention to John and plans a move, I'm sure, pretty swiftly.
Yeah, is he going to make a move in the inside of turn 1? He's tried it once already on this race on Dan the Man, but he thinks better of it. He is waiting for that back straight. Court has finally got past Mr. Chiapelli, so that's him up into 10th. And there's a little battle behind as well for Jovial Manatee and Alistair. So there's a few little scraps going on across the whole field at the moment.
Yep, and we're hearing, unfortunately, Wet Lemons clipped a curb on the exit, and round he went, and that was the end of his day. So he'll be hoping for better luck in Brazil. Keep your comments coming. A lot of them are in relation to Softy at the moment. Can't say I blame all of you. I'm sure your views, well, the views I've seen thus far at least, have been pretty similar to Owen and mine. But let's see how the race unfolds. A lot of time still to go, and Softy putting pressure on our returnee. Dan Morris back in TGP1. I think maybe for his first race this season. Don't quote me on that. But, and more importantly, Softy, look.
Well, it looks like it might just be me then. Yeah, it's looking very good so far. We've got Alistair all over the back of Jovial Vanity, as we see Machine Island still all over the back of John, as this is the battle for 4th and 5th. Two great battles going on across the field. Aidan sitting on his own in 8th, Matt Tibos in 9th, Court round out the top 10. Miss Chiapelli's got Kong Hoffner for company, and then it's a bit spread out further back. Softy has made his way back up to 14th, and we'll be seeing soon if people are going to need to make a stop in this race as well. We've come up to half distance, and here's the first of our answers. Dan the Man entering the pit lane now on as an Alpine driver, and he's entering the pits. So yeah, Dan the Man and Jovial Manti both into the box, and Aidan. So this is where I said the strategy would come into play, Mike.
Yep, we're starting to see drivers pitting. Sorry about that. My controller ran out of charge. We did also see, during all that as well, Softy getting past Dan Morris, and Dan Morris having a very elegant spin. Oh my goodness me. It doesn't rain, it pours. Quite literally and metaphorically from the man from Nottinghamshire who has picked up a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He can't go 2 laps without having an incident at the moment.
Oh, is someone taken over Softy's seat today? Oh, it's a genuine question, because we normally don't see this sort of behaviour from Softy, but yeah, he's having an absolute Western supermare today.
It's pretty extraordinary. I really can't recall the last time I saw Softy have an off day like this, and a crucial moment as well. We've got 4 races left in the championship, and he's picked a bad time. Meanwhile, we've got Machine Island and Jonas going side by side. Oh, Machine Island grabbing the rear brakes, anchors fully on, and very lucky he didn't end up spinning. Alistair Bain has quietly made his way up to P5 as well. Look at the drifting that Machine Island's doing. Do you think he's in Tokyo? It's extraordinary.
I think this is what I was on about. The tyres are starting to go off. There's some guys that have pitted already. Is anyone else going to box this lap? We've seen about a few drivers. Jovial Man,
the Confessor's in.
All box. Confessor's in, yeah. So I think, like I said,
as is Cam.
I think the Inters on this game just can't do a full race distance anymore like they could on previous games. So you have to make that pit stop.
Yeah, and the top 5 all in. Matt Tibos, though, fancies a little moment of glory and is going to continue round to take the lead of the race, I presume.
Be interesting to see where everyone is compared to Dan the Man. He was the first of the guys that boxed as well. He's just onto the main straight now.
Yeah, Dan the Man just heading to the bottom of the hill. He's definitely going to be ahead of Jean. Yes, he is, but he's still 2.5 seconds behind Cam. But most importantly for him is he's got 3 seconds gap to Jean now. So pitting that lap earlier, obviously he's going to have to watch those tyres as the race goes on. But he's got a good buffer to those behind, and Jean can hopefully, for his sake, get his head down and get some pace back, because he was really struggling.
Well, he needs to, because otherwise he's going to have a train forming behind him of about 5-6 cars. Everyone's come out from those pit stops very close together in that mid pack.
Yeah, they have, haven't they? Actually, from sort of Jean down to Aidan, they're all quite close to each other. Softy's made his way up to 13th in all of that.
He's just pulled a move on Dan Morris as well. He's just got himself up into 9th with that move.
Yeah,
pulled off quite a ballsy move by the looks of it. I think he just got a better run through the end of the exit section, and that was the move done.
Dan Morris fancies coming back at him though on the main straight. Oh, they get very close, and Dan Morris wiggling over on the left-hand side of the track, but does move and pull clear. But Aidan's going to come back. The Aston Martin finds himself on the inside. They make a little bit of contact a couple of times, and Aidan muscles his way back through. And good stern stuff between the two of them there. And Aidan does eventually get the move done and up into 9th place.
Yeah, very elbows out stuff there, but fairly fair racing between the two drivers, and now Dan Morris looks like he's really struggling. I think he hasn't made the stop yet. I think that's why he was in that tussle for that mid-pack.
Yeah, well, we're now watching Cam, who is on the main straight, and has just moved his way back up into 2nd place, ahead of Matt Tibos, who hasn't pitted. Going to try and see if he can get these intermediates to the end of the race, but it's going to struggle, I fear, for him. Meanwhile, Softy has made his way past Court as well, so that's another place gain for him, and he's now stuck, like a lot of people have been in this race, behind Mr. Chiapelli.
Chiapelli. There's been a bit of a train in this race for the lower end of the field, and now Softy is right on the back of it. He's still going to get some points from this race, luckily for him, Softy, but he's had a bit of a disaster class, to say the least.
Yeah, he has. I suppose the only saving grace he might have really here is he's not going to try this again, is he? No, he does. But this time he actually gets alongside enough, makes that move stick, and Court's going to be fancying getting past Mr. Chiapelli now instead. Jack Pearson's retired from this race. Water's wet. But yeah, I mean, of all the races, actually, I think the Confessors...
Sorry to interrupt you, but Alistair is down the inside of Jovial Manti. They're side by side. He's got the move done on the back straight. Is Jovial Manti going to make the move back again? No, he thinks better of it. And Alistair's finally got past Jovial Manti.
Yep, good stuff from Alistair. Can turn his attention now to Machine Island. Let's not forget Matt Tibbos is sort of an outlier in this because he hasn't pitted, as is the same with Dan Morris, as Softy and Court have made their way past Mr. Chiapelli. We saw Softy's move, and Court and Chiapelli side by side as they're coming into the stadium section. Mr. Chiapelli trying to hold on to it round the outside, but the Alpine just with a bit more grip. But is Chiapelli going to try and send it at the inside? No, he finally concedes this one. As Court runs very wide, actually, so he doesn't finally concede after all, and Court's going to have to try again. But they're side by side on the inside of whatever turn this is, turn 18? And into the penultimate corner now. Court's going to try and send it around the outside. He just about keeps it in the line. These two have been side by side for, well, a handful of corners now, if not more. And they're still going at it as they finish the lap. And Court's got a big slide on. I don't know how he kept that out of the wall. But it's a fantastic effort from the Alpine driver, well, to not crash.
WRC comes out next month, Court, so he's traded a bit early for that, but bloody hell. Jeez, he was himself a heart attack there.
Yeah, that was pretty wild. So anyway, what I was about to say was, as Jonas makes his way past Matt Tibbos for fourth, it's actually, Cam's not going to win this race unless something happens to the Confessor. Yeah, the Confessor is too quick. So of all the races for Softy to have had a bit of a duff one, you know, he's not going to take maximum points, Cam. So it's sort of okay. It's not great, don't get me wrong. I mean, you know, you wouldn't want to lose however many points he's going to lose. But actually, the damage could have been worse. And I think of any positive Softy could take out of it, that's the only one I'm seeing.
Yeah, it's the only one I'm seeing at the moment as well. As I see, yeah, Jonas is still within 2.5 seconds of Dan the Man, and it's important to remember that Dan the Man's got that 3-second penalty, so Jonas will be wanting to stay within that buffer, so he can take on that final podium spot. Machine Island's got past Tibbos. Tibbos is starting to fall backwards like a stone through this field now. He's really struggling. Alistair Bain all over the back of him as well. This is the battle for P6 and P7 on the road. Jovial Manti's about 2.5 seconds behind. Is Alistair could get the move done into turn 1. Yes, he is. He's got the move done. He has put himself up into P number 6 there. So he's up into P6. Matt Tibbos falling down the field. But where did he start? Let's just have a quick look at where he started on the field, just so we've got a bit of context. He's currently gained 2 positions. So he started 9th. So, yeah, okay, there's a bit of, he might end up net losing out is the way it's looking at the moment actually for Matt Tibbos. Meanwhile, further down the field, the closest battle on the circuit is Cog Hoffner and Mr. Chiapelli. This is the battle for 12th and 13th. It's Haas versus Mercedes, as we see them battling further up the field. As caution up the field as well. Joe Corboy's having a bit of a disaster. It is debut, unfortunately for him, in TGP2. TGP1, shall I say. And we see, yeah, Cog Hoffner is going to try and make a move potentially down the back straight on Mr. Chiapelli. So, heading up the field we go. Cog Hoffner, let's have a look at him. Is he going to make a move round the outside at turn number 12? No, he's not. He's going to fire in behind for the time being of the Mercedes driver.
He's giving it a good go though, isn't he?
He is giving it a good go indeed.
They've made contact, and Cog Hoffner, who looked like he was about to line up Mr. Chiapelli for a move, but unfortunately just end up clipping the back of him. Disappointing for Kong Hofner. He seems to have got away in terms of damage, but not ideal for him as Matt Tibos is tumbling down the order and he finally concedes and comes into the pits.
He's given up. Meanwhile, Machine Fishy is now all over the back of Jonas. This is the battle for 4th and 5th on the road. He's still sliding everywhere. He's trying his best rallycross impression, but he is all over the back of the Aston Martin driver.
I think we need to get Machine Fishy into TGP Rally because this is some exquisite drifting action we're seeing in tonight's racing. So good work from him.
Williams driver.
Sorry?
I said great car control from the Williams driver there. We've seen good car control from Court and not so good car control from Softy.
Yeah, no, it has been good stuff. Right, anyway, so the battle for 4th is still on. Dan the Man is cleared off up the road with a 3-second advantage. Softy is in 9th place, but does have a 5-second penalty he still has to serve. At the moment, it's not going to drop him any places. As Machine Island, oh my goodness me, him and Jonas get so close on the run down the main straight. And Machine Island finally puts his car in a position where he can get past the Aston Martin. And he had to get really aggressive there. Jonas was not letting that one go without a fight, and he still isn't letting it one go without a fight. Look at these two going side by side. Alistair Bain has got the best view in the house, but for the moment at least, they're still going at it, they're still rubbing wheels, and Owen, the position still hasn't been decided.
It hasn't. Jonas looks like he's going to hang around the outside of turn 18, just about keep it almost touching there. As they go through into 19, they're still side by side. I'm sure Machine Fishy has to concede the position there, and he's now side by side with Alistair, and Alistair's taken the pickings there, and he's got himself up into P5, and now potentially looking at Jonas for P4.
Yeah, Alistair, as someone mentioned a little bit earlier on, Alistair Bain has turned into Jensen Button in these conditions. Yeah, extremely good stuff racing from him, and now he's going to be keeping an eye on 4th place. So just a few tenths behind on the penultimate lap, and well positioned, it must be said.
He is indeed, but Alistair looking at the back of this battle, P4, P5 and P6, they're not going to challenge Dan the Man. Dan the Man's finally safe with that penalty that he's received, but great battle, and if they're not careful, Jovial Mansi could find himself on the back of this and making a few positions on this last lap.
Yeah, I think he could. Yeah, I think he really could. Good stuff. Right, well, Alistair Bain has got a lap and a half to try and get this position, but at the moment I think Jonas's defensive work is too good for any of them at the moment.
Yeah, it is indeed, but we say that Alistair is coming, he's coming, he's going to go around the outside into number 12, and Jonas just about holds him off. Great move. He's going to try and get the switch back on him, but he's going to be on the outside to 13, and he's going to have to stick behind for the time being. Is he going to cheeky move up the inside in 14, or is Jonas going to defend that? No, he's going to try and hang it round the exit. Machine Island's just watching in the background, waiting for these two to have an accident. I hope he can get himself up into P4.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, Jonas is giving some real stern stuff out there. It's really good to see. The Confessor started his final lap. You could just about see him in the background of that last shot we just saw heading round turn number 1. He's got 7.5 seconds advantage to Cam, who in turn has got 7.5 seconds to Dan, who in turn has almost got 7 seconds to Jean. And I think that's been a very good metaphor for how this race has gone for Jean, really. You know, he had such great pace in qualifying, but when the rain came, it just seemed like his world just fell apart. So John at the moment still holding on to 4th. Softy, our championship leader, down in 9th place at the moment and will hold on to that 9th, barring of course any post-race penalties or penalties still to come. We shall but see, but for the moment at least he is going to be 9th. Worth mentioning, Alistair actually has a penalty which could see him drop to 7th, so he really needs to get on and make that move. As it turns out, because he's going to drop a couple of places and he could have put a good gap between him and the cars in front, but Alistair with one real opportunity to overtake on its upcoming, and we'll stick with that for the moment as Jean once again goes defensive, but we're going to have to cut to the Confessor in a minute, but Jean just about does enough at the moment. We're going to have to leave this battle because we're going to go and check out on our leader, who we haven't really spoken very much about since the very early exchanges, because he just got in the lead and sodded off, and the Confessor is going to take yet another GP1 race win. What he could have achieved if he'd been more consistent at the start of the year. That Confessor wins in Texas. Cam is going to come across the line in P2. A very solid race from him. And down the man, nearly 10 seconds adrift, but he won't care. Because he's going to come across the line to take the last podium place. And meanwhile, the battle for fourth is still raging on. But Jean, with some stern defensive efforts, does hold on to take fourth. Machine Island will be fifth. Jovial Manatee will be sixth, with Alistair Bain coming home in P7. Aidan Griffins is going to be eighth. Softy, ninth. Well, I didn't think I'd be saying that at the beginning of this race. Matt Tibos is going to come home 10th after that late change. No, he's not. Corp's going to be 10th. Matt Tibos in 11th. And look at this little battle going on into the last corner between Kong Hoffner, Dom Smith and Dan Morris. As Dom Smith sends one to the inside of Dan Morris, but it doesn't really work out as Dan comes home to claim, on the road at least, 13th, but drops to 15th after penalties applied, with Mr. Chiapelli picking up 14th place. And we're just waiting for Joe Corboy to finish in his opening night in TGP1 action. He'll be pleased, I'm sure, just to bring it across the line. Well, we didn't expect the rain, and I don't think we quite expected the action that we had. But it was a good showing from everyone involved. We saw some questionable moves and driving choices, but also we saw some pretty clean racing out there. So well done to most people in the race. So good stuff from there. Aidan Griffin's driver of the day. Might have deserved it. Don't really know. I would have thought the Confessor perhaps deserved it, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But there he is, doing the Harvey Barnes celebration, firing arrows away, and it's another race win for the man from Ireland. And Cam will be pleased with that second place, as that's just what he needed for his championship fight with Softy, who picked up, if my math serves me right, 5 points to Cam's 18, which means a 13-point swing. So Softy going in to the Brazil race with, if my math serves me right, a 2-point advantage, Owen.
2-point advantage with 3 races to go. That is very interesting indeed, and it will be very exciting come Brazil as well. Got 3 races to go in the season, and it's going to come down to the wire, this championship.
Yep, they're all in a good place. But Shane, unstoppable. He got the fastest lap. He got pole position. He didn't quite lead every lap because Matt Tibos led one of them, but almost perfect from the Irishman. And a lot of people in the comments congratulating Shane for his effort. Jack Hickman and Will Emmons, 2 of them. And it's good to see that the drivers appreciating, fellow drivers appreciating the driver's work. And why is Jack Hickman not racing? Is he just sat in his boxes or something watching this rather than racing? Lazy bastard. So, Owen, we've got Interlagos coming up. Very different challenge. What can we expect to be? I mean, surely Softy's going to be out there with a point to prove, isn't he?
He is going to be out there with a point to prove. The gap's come down to 2 points with 3 races to go after his messy US Grand Prix. I think he was having too much Texas barbecue and it's made a mess of his hands. So that's what caused him to have so many incidents in that race. But we'll see what he can do in Brazil. Hopefully it's more of an all-you-can-eat buffet and he does well in this Grand Prix.
I don't think Brazil are particularly well known for an all-you-can-eat buffet. What would be on a Brazilian all-you-can-eat buffet?
There's one near where I live, Mike, and there's
a Brazilian all-you-can-eat buffet near where you live.
There is
not.
A Brazilian. There is.
I'm astounded. So what can you get in a Brazilian all-you-can-eat buffet?
Well, you got your gammon, you got steaks, chorizo sausages, chicken wings, basically a load
that
of
just sounds like a normal all-you-can-eat buffet. What makes it Brazilian? Do they sort of have dancing girls come around and serve you the food or something?
It's got a Brazilian theme to it, and there's lots of Brazilian beer.
So, it's just like, just covered in blue and green and yellow
much.
or something?
Yes.
Right, okay, I don't really get that, to be quite honest with you. Jack Hickman, as it turns out, is sat in his pants at home watching this, so glad you can join us, Jack. I hope you're enjoying the action at home. We certainly are in the commentary box. Who else have we got joining in then? I know we've got the likes of Sean. He was certainly keeping an eye out in the commentary. Do feel free to come and join us if you are watching. We'd love to hear how things are going from where you're watching and what your inputs are, because you don't want to get too bored of listening to Owen and I over and over again. Owen's a little bit more interesting than me, at least. Well, I say that.
Well, am I?
Yeah, now I think about it. So, right, Brazil. I've lost my train of thought now, thinking about how boring Owen can be in commentary sometimes. But, so we've established there are some all-you-can-eat buffets, Brazilian-wise there is anyway. What would be the strangest all-you-can-eat buffet that you could come across? I don't really know what you'd put in, like, a Slovakian all-you-can-eat buffet.
That'd be a weird one.
A Nepalese?
Yeah, Nepalese.
That would just be loads of, like, curry and stuff, won't it?
Actually, it'd probably be alright, because it'd be because where it is located.
It's like Chinese food, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, it'd be, because above it's China and below it's India. So
that'd be a cracking all-you-can-eat, Owen.
That would, actually.
If anyone knows of any Nepalese all-you-can-eat buffets, then do please let us know. I'd really like to visit it now. But actually, I'd just like to go to a Nepalese, not necessarily an all-you-can-eat buffet. I think all-you-can-eat buffet is the worst kind of restaurant. But, you know, just a Nepalese restaurant. If someone knows of one, send it to me, and I will ensure that I visit it at some point in my pretty worthless existence. But anyway, let's get back to racing. And we've got, I'm sure, what is going to be quite an interesting race coming up to you. We don't know what the weather's going to be like just yet, but we'll find out in just a few moments' time. It is, well, we're blazing in some late morning sun by the looks of it, Owen, in Interlagos, in Sao Paulo, pretty big city in Brazil.
It is a pretty big city in Brazil.
They speak Portuguese, I do know that.
Yeah, they do.
In Brazil. Do they speak Portuguese in the Brazilian all-you-can-eat buffet?
I think there might be some Brazilian workers.
Interesting. So, we have got a Red Bull going very early out, and I wonder if that is Softy just trying to put... Yeah, it is Softy, actually, going out very early. He needs to put the last race behind him quickly, doesn't he?
He really does. He had one of his worst performances I think I've ever seen from the soft cop in TGB1 in that Grand Prix. Yes, it was raining, but it was raining for everyone. Softy, you can't use that as an excuse. So yeah, not the best performance there, and he may have put his title up in smoke with that performance as well.
Very possibly, yeah. You know, I don't really know. For some of those moves that we saw, and a lot of them were pretty poor, I don't really know what he expected to get out of them.
I don't know. It's an ambitious place to go for an overtake anyway. You have to be basically past someone to go for a move in that section of corners. Realistic overtaking opportunities on that circuit are turn 12 and turn 1, and you can maybe make a move into the hairpin just before the back straight if you're bold enough. But
yeah,
that's about it.
Yeah. I just think, you know, he needs to put it behind him and move on. But, you know, he's already saying maybe next year. But, well, you know, he's still leading the championship. Silly boy needs to get his head down.
Yeah, it's 3 points, by the way.
3 points?
I've just seen an updated standings for you, and it's apparently 3 points.
Oh, right.
The gap between Softy and Cam.
Turns out my maths isn't as good as I thought, but hang on. Anyway, I won't argue with Dom. We have got Softy starting his hot lap, and he's invalidated already. So let's try and find someone else who can keep it in the white line. Confessor. Yeah, let's do that. Owen, talk us through an onboard of half a lap around Interlagos.
So we're heading towards this infield section now, down to third gear. Big snap of oversteer there for the Confessor on this lap, and you've got to be careful through this section. You've just got to be so patient through that corner, put the throttle on, and then slings you into this very tight corner that slings you all the way around to the last braking zone on this circuit, down through Ferradura, and now hitting the brakes now down to third gear, fourth gear, getting the power on nicely, the Professor does, and now you've got this long drag up the hill. These are corners on the circuit map, but they're not really corners for the drivers as they head up the hill. What's his lap time going to be? He's going to be the first driver to set a lap time in this qualifying session, and he doesn't want to wait to.
Has everyone just invalidated their lap times? I don't remember Confessor leaving particularly early. Now, obviously, we mentioned Austin being a particular circuit that you need to watch for track limits, but I didn't ever think of this one being one necessarily. Have I got that wrong?
Yeah, it can be a little bit tricky on track limits. The Center S is a bit difficult to get right. You can easily cut that second part, that bottom part of the Center S. But apart from that, not overly. It shouldn't be that difficult because if you're looking around the circuit, you can see there's a lot of grass for the drivers to avoid. So going wide will lose you a bit of time.
Well, that's what I always thought. Maybe I'm wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. Nonetheless, we have got drivers out there on lap times doing things far more important than what I'm talking about. One of them is Cam. As he approaches the line, he goes to P4, so still time to find. Now, one thing we do often find, Owen, I'm sure you'll agree with me on this, is the gap can sometimes be very short around here. It's not a very long lap, and you can sometimes find that the drivers can all get quite close to one another. So are we expecting a qualifying session much like that?
Yeah, you can. Traffic could be an issue. Of course, it's only just over a minute and a half. It's only just over a minute lap time around here. So, and it's not the longest lap in the world. We're predicting an 18 lap race around here. Even it's like 71 in normal. One of the shorter circuits on the calendar. So, yeah, traffic will be an issue potentially for the drivers in qualifying.
Yeah, hopefully they'll all get themselves sorted out. But Matt Tibbles has just put himself into 6th. We just saw that. John has gone 3rd. Softy moved his way up into 4th place, as Dan the Man has just gone 2nd. And some Jovial Manatee has just gone 4th. So time's coming in thick and fast. So we've got Kong Hoffner out there on a lap at the moment. Well, we did, but he's just gone off. I'm just getting myself sorted. Forgive me. Court Gill, is he on a lap? No, he's on an in-lap. Matt Tibos is on an in-lap. Dom Smith is going to set lap time in a minute. Let's tell you what. Let's watch Jack Pearson. Let's watch the laughing stock of the series, who is about to start a flying lap. Let's give him a little bit of airtime. He's just let someone through that's on what looks like an outlap or an in-lap as well.
Yeah, with his Ferrari helmet in his Williams.
Yeah, I mean, Jack, former TGP2 champion. I think he's won TGP1 races in the past. He's certainly not on his way to doing so at the moment, but Jack Pearson, that's right on board with the Williams driver. He's going to have his little moment in the sun, and let's see how he gets on. He's making his way through the first few corners now. He keeps it within the white lines, I know that's quite important around here.
That is very important, especially Jack Pearson, the penalty king of TGP1 this season. The driver who's picked up the most time penalties across the season so far from the gate has not been the best at keeping within the white line, shall we say. And,
no.
But he's doing well so far on this lap.
Yep. I'm also liking the Ferrari helmet crossed with the Williams car combo. I think that's a good look. But Jack then making his way through the second sector. This sort of infield section is always quite interesting. You can gain and lose a lot of time here, but it just sort of feels like you're doing the same thing over and over again. But you've kept it relatively neat and tidy enough. I'm about to get a second split time for him. He's also got an Aston Martin right behind him, which is Johners, who I think is on a lap time as well, actually. So John is going to be getting a nice tow from this, and as Jack Pearson makes his way to the start-finish line, we're about to see his first competitive lap time hit the board. And John is making the most of the tow to go provisional pole. But it was very quickly and very swiftly beaten by the Confessor, the first man into the 1 minute sevens.
Yeah, he was indeed the first man into the 1 minute sevens. Of course, drivers out on laps at the moment. Machine Island on a lap in the other Williams as he enters that middle sector. Oh, big slide there again from Machine Island. He does love a little bit of a drift, does he, this boy?
He certainly does. We've also got Cam just starting a lap time, Owen, so let's see what the Ferrari driver can do, shall we?
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what this Ferrari driver can do. He's got the DRS wide open, using a lot of the gearing on his Ferrari engine. What's his time? He's 3/10 up on his previous best through that first sector.
Yep, he's finding a bit of pace when he needs to. He's certainly going to be wanting to improve on that P10 position. Certainly out of place by his standards in his qualifying session so far. But as we said, you take the Confessor time away, and we've got a second separating second to 11th. Well, 12th technically. So really not very much time for these drivers to be trying to compete with.
No, not much time. Cam, what's his second time? He's the second quicker. He's gone purple in that second sector. That's how much quicker he's gone. So he could be challenging the Confessor for pole position if he continues on the way he's going with this lap.
Well, he's putting himself in a good place to do so, and on the run to the line, he's kept him within the white lines, and Cam puts himself into provisional pole. It's a 1 minute 7.7. He gives himself 8 attempts, and the Confessor's going very slow into the pits. He ought to be careful he's not going to get disqualified in a minute. But Cam lays down a very good gauntlet, and now it's Softy's turn.
Yeah, Softy just starting a flying lap in the Red Bull, coming across the line now. He needs to improve on that 1:08.6 banker lap he put in at the start of the session and see if he can try not invalidate this time round like he did on his very first attempt.
Well, we'll certainly be hoping so, but he's made it through the centre S this time without incident. And the man from Nottingham is getting his head down and really needs to... well, he needs a big improvement, doesn't he? He's got, what is that, almost a second to find to go pole. Sorry?
Sorry. may have the Arsenal game on.
Excellent. So come on then, give us an update. What's the score?
Arsenal just scored. Jesus.
Have they? That's a surprise. Who scored, Owen?
Jesus.
Good. Anyway, Soft Cop then is rounding Jung Chao. No, that's the next one. But we're about to get his second split time. And he's found half a second, which at the moment would put him about P3. So would put him whereabouts he needs to. But can he find any time on the run to the line? 1 minute 7.7 is the quickest time we've had thus far. Softy, can he get into the 1 minute 7s? No, it's only good enough for P4 and not quicker than Johners.
No, not quicker than Johners at all. He's got himself onto the front two rows, so he can still do something in the race with that, but it's probably not where he'd like to be considering how many points he dropped in that Texas race.
No, certainly not. And I think he will be hoping that he can get that sorted out. But nonetheless, we have got Dan the Man coming up to the line at the moment. Starting a flying lap.
He's starting a flying lap.
We've got just over 7 minutes to go left in the session. Let's see if no, he can't because he's invalidated his lap time. Thanks, Dan.
I think Jovial Manatee. No, it's the other Toro Rosso in front of Toro Rosso. Alpha Tauri in front of him.
I think Machine Island is on a flying lap, and we're about to get his first split time. And look at him. He's finding 2 attempts in the first sector as Kong Hoffner has retired. Let's see how Machine Island can get on. 1 minute 8.4 he's on at the moment. 7 tenths off pole. He's had some good pace, Machine Island, so far this season, Owen. Can we see yet another example of that here?
Yeah, we could do indeed. I was just watching the end of Jovial Manatee. He improved on time, but didn't improve position. Still behind Machine Island for the time being. Cork Gill, he's on a flying lap as well. So we've got a few drivers lower down the order, just setting times now while there's a little bit of a lull in the session. Ready to go for these final runs. Dan the Man is coming up to the line now as well. He's currently P5 in the other Alpine. Oh no, he's invalidated that, correct. Yeah, Machine Island now. What's he going to do when he comes up to the line?
Well, we're about to find out on his run. No, he's pitted. Good.
Cool. Caught in 10th. What can he do? Can he improve on his 10th place? He's on a 108.666. The Devil is very pleased with that number. Is he going to come off the Devil's number? Yes, he does. Improves by 0.08 of a second.
Bottoms up and the Devil laughs, but on this occasion Court has moved himself up into P9 ahead of Matt Tibos, who's on an outlap. The Griffin's Bane family not having a particularly good qualifying session out there at the moment. Both of them finished strongly in Austin, but currently down in 13th and 15th. Aiden is on a flying lap at the moment. He's improving on his lap time.
Yeah, both on laps, so they'll be interesting to see if they improve. As Aiden covered up to the line in the Aston Martin, his teammates up in P3, 10 positions back. He really is being Lance Stroll at the moment as he enters the pit lane. Yeah,
doing his best impression. Alistair Bay, meanwhile, was found over 4 attempts in the first sector, so he was on a good lap in the Red Bull. We're about to get his second split time, and he's kept that 4 attempts in hand. he will be, well, he needs to be into the 1 minute 8 to be competitive, really, and this lap time should put him in that sort of ballpark. So the Red Bull driver rises up to the top of the hill. He does complete his lap time, so we are going to see where this puts him, and it puts him on a 1 minute 8.8 and up into 12th place.
Yeah, decent lap there from Alistair. Let's see, Softy is now on an out lap. Johners is
out lap as well, I think.
No, he's in lap.
Okay.
Johners, Confessor's in lap. Yeah,
keep an eye on Softy.
Softy's the only one really looking towards starting a lap at the moment.
Let's see what the man from Nottingham can do. The man who's been so consistent so far this season, so on the ball, putting in, lap times when he needs it, race wins when he needs to, just being in a class of one for so long. It's strange for us to see him struggle as much as he has done this evening. He will be determined to put the last race behind him, I'm sure. But can he do it, Owen? This lap time, we'll find out.
We will indeed, as he heads towards the centre S for the last time in this qualifying session, most likely. He's headed in, chucks it in nicely, doesn't cut through the centre S. A little bit of a wobble on the exit though, as he flings it round turn 4, gets the DRS open. And what's his sector 1 time going to be? Is the traffic going to stay out of the way? Yes, it does. And he's 600ths up. So, not the most impressive start to the lap from Softy, but he is improving, and that is all that matters. He flicks his way through this triple apex section of corners as it gets tighter and tighter, and then he finally flicks it into the twisty infield section of the Sao Paulo circuit, the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache circuit in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Gets his way tucked into the slowest corner of the circuit, and now he flings his way out of that towards the end of sector 2. Is there improvement? 2.5 tenths. This is a big improvement from Softy. It's going to put him probably provisionally on the front row as it stands, as he flies his way up the hill, curve through the first one, keeps it very tight on the run through there, trying to keep the best run to the line, and he puts himself up into P2, only just slower than Cam, but that is probably his last lap of the session.
Important lap time that from Softy. He needed that one right when it counted, and he was able to pull out a lap time that he will hope will be good enough for the front row. The Confessor in the pits, Cam in the pits. Cam is about to leave the pits. I'm sure the Confessor will be doing likewise very soon. Johners is on an out lap. Machine Island is on a flyer. He's finding a little bit of time, but I don't think enough to be challenging the front row.
Yeah, it will be indeed, as we see the Jollers on an out lap. Softy finished for the session. Cam just filtering out the pit lane now, so everyone's going out for these final runs now. Machine Island, I think, has just done his last lap. He's popped himself up into 5th place.
Yes, he has.
Yeah, so
good work from him. John is on a flying lap now, though, and let's see what the Aston Martin driver can do. We've got the Confessor and Cam now starting their out laps. They've got a minute and 50 seconds, so they will be fine as they're making their way through the second sector at the moment. But let's keep an eye on the Aston Martin and see what sort of lap time he can come up with.
So, yeah, he flicks his way into this middle sector now, avoiding the traffic of the Confessor in the McLaren on the inside. He gets out the way nicely for him. As we see, Softy is finished for this session. I thought he would be. He doesn't have time to do another flying lap. So we see Johners flicking his way through the slowest corner on the circuit. And there's an Aston Martin sitting very much in the middle of the road. Aiden almost interrupted his teammate's lap time there, and he's 2 tenths down because of it.
Yeah, and he got a little bit squirrely on the exit there. Not the neatest and tidiest of lap times from Jean-Luc Taylor, and that's not what he needed at this moment. And on the run to the line, he doesn't even complete the lap. He knows it's not going to be good enough, and Cam has started his lap, Owen. This is the business end of the session. He's currently on provisional pole. Can he make that an even bigger advantage?
Well, sector 1 time is a little bit down. The Confessor's just starting his flying lap as well. These are the two.
Oh, Cam's invalidated!
Cam's invalidated, so it's now all down to the Confessor to try and nick pole position off Cam. He only needs to find a 10th, and what's his sector 1 time going to be? He comes across the line, he's 10th and a half down.
Yeah, he's not finding the time he needs at the moment, and Cam is going to be, well, you'd have to say probably no worse than second, as Evan Dalton's put himself up into P5, cracking lap time from the Mercedes driver. We've got a lot of drivers on laps at the moment still, so it might be 20 seconds left of this qualifying session, but look at the Confessor, he's on the ragged edge, he's locking the rear tyres, he's sliding into corners, and Owen, he still needs to find time.
Yeah, and that's not the best way of doing it is on the ragged edge when you really need to be smooth at this point in the session. Smooth and tidy is the best way to gain lap time. As you see his split time, he's 2.5 tenths down. So I think that pole position is Cam's.
Yeah, I think that's going to be it for the Confessor. I very much doubt he's going to be able to pull out 2 temps in what effectively is a start-finish straight, but he's certainly going to try and find it. Maybe he got a good exit. It didn't look like it from our angle, and he didn't. No, he's 2 temps off his best, nearly 3 temps off pole position, and he's going to be 3rd at best. Caught Gill up into 7th place. Great lap time from him. Dan the Man is just coming round to the end of the middle sector, so we'll get a split time from him. He's a 10th and a half up, and that might be good enough for the 3rd row, Owen.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see. Let's see what he does. Just got a couple more corners to go. It's all about the straight line speed of this Alpine as he drags his way up the hill towards the start-finish line. Shortest run to the line. What's his time going to be? And he puts himself 7th.
Not a bad effort. I'm sure he would have wanted more. He's out-qualified his teammate.
As well in the Haas. Does he improve? Improves up to 9th.
Dom Smith not improving on his lap time. He's coming into the pits. Joe Corboy not on a lap time coming into the pits. Mr. Chip Pelly. Yeah, that's it. So Cam's on pole. But look at that. Our 2 main protagonists on the front row together.
Yes, they are. Cam and Softy on that front row here in Brazil. Is there going to be carnage into turn 1? Softy will be fairly aggressive. Okay. Yeah, he will be fairly aggressive.
What got you okaying?
I was okaying the just popped up the Man United Galatasaray score.
And what's that?
It's 1-1.
Oh. Did Wilfred Zaha score?
Yes, he did. He has scored the Galatasaray goal.
Excellent
Højlund scored
news.
the United one.
Who did?
Højlund.
He only seems to turn up in the Champions League. We're getting very sidetracked.
We've got this lull in between the sessions, to be fair.
Well, we have. Well, we're waiting for Chiapelli to retire. But I think the time... There we go. So, I think we could be in for an interesting race. Now, is Softy going to be aggressive into turn number 1? Because I know that Cam is 3 points behind him in the championship, and if Cam wins and Softy's second, then Cam takes the lead in the championship, blah, blah, blah. But, there's still 2 races after this, and let's be honest, Owen, as we've seen from this season, Softy is probably, well, I think Softy is the quicker driver. I don't think many would disagree. So he doesn't really need to go sticking his nose. Not that he'd, we saw that from him in the last race, but he doesn't need to go sticking his nose where it doesn't need to be and getting into an instant like we saw the 2 of them have in Holland, obviously back earlier in the season. But is he just going to be so desperate to make up for what happened last time that he'll end up making a mistake?
Yeah, I think Softy has shown already in USA he's going to be aggressive in these races tonight, try and make up as many points as he can, and he's going to probably do the same again here in Brazil, so it'll be very spicy this run down to turn 1.
I think it will. So do stick around, and we're very much looking forward to seeing how this one's going to go. It's an overcast day in Interlagos, which is unusual, but the rain does seem to be holding off, at least for the moment. So let's hope it stays that way, because I think we could be in for a pretty entertaining race without it. So rain, go away, come again another day. So the drivers just getting themselves sorted, getting themselves a quick comfort break, ready for what I'm sure is going to be a very entertaining race. We certainly hope so up here in the commentary box. Do let us know your thoughts if you're watching, and as the race goes on, we love to hear from you. And also do remember to get in touch with us on X at TGP Series and our Instagram account at TGP Series as well. So, drivers are almost ready. We're almost ready. Let's see if you are. We've got 3, 4 and 5 lights on the lights in Interlagos. And we're underway, and it was a good getaway from the front row. Softy putting his nose in already, and he's getting alongside Cam, and he's getting ahead of Cam, and he's in the lead of the race. And Cam tries to fight back, but Softy's clearly ahead, and the Confessor even finds his way now up into second place. A disastrous start for Cam, who's gone from first all the way to third in a matter of meters. I'm on the long run down to turn number 4 now, where we've seen carnage, we've seen incident in TGP Series before. They're all very well behaved, but at the front, it was a dream getaway from Softy, and it was a dream example because he's got a car in between himself and Cam.
He has indeed got a very good start. Confessor's slotted in nicely into second place, and Cam, yeah, really struggling on the start. He's gone for, I'm just trying to look at what tyres he's gone for as well, because that may have made the difference. He's on the mediums. They're all on the medium tyres actually, so tyres didn't make a difference really on that start, so it's just a poor start for Cam.
Yeah. He got a poor start when he really didn't need one, and look at that, he's already dropping off the back of the Confessor as well. He's might be having to turn his attention to Jonas before he turns his attention ahead. Very quick over one lap, but clearly struggling a little bit on race pace. And talking of race pace, the Confessor's looking very racy and might fancy his chances on softy sooner rather than later, although Cam perhaps using a bit of his battery to see if he can gain back up onto the back of the Confessor. But it's Confessor, he's still making advances on softy further ahead, as we've got Luca Chiapelli, Kong Hoffner, Joe and Dan Morris all coming into the pits further back.
Yeah, must have been a bit of a schmozzle at the back of the field there for those drivers, but up the front, a very tidy start from all of them, and it looks like we've got a breakaway pack of 4 to begin with.
Yeah, Jonas going with them, as we saw a little bit further back. Wet Lemons making a move on Dom Smith on the run down to turn number 4 as well. The Alfa Romeo driver making his way ahead of the McLaren driver, and as they sweep their way through the middle sector, there's a very nice sheen on the circuit tonight. I don't know if that is maybe some late morning dew or something, but maybe a bit of oil down. But at the moment it's not affecting the driver's grip apparently, unless you can. But these top 4, as you said, sort of in a little gag of the moves. Matt Tibbles is up in 6th place, unseen by me. A great start from the Haas driver.
Yeah, he has a very good start, and Evan Dalton's actually trying to bridge that gap to get onto the back of Jonas as well. He's pulled a little bit of a gap on Matt Tibbles, over a second now. But this front 4, maybe 5, are starting to pull away from the rest of the field quite comfortably now.
They certainly are, as Cam sets the fastest lap of the race and perhaps is going to try a move on the Confessor. They've made contact, and Cam has sent the Confessor round, and that's allowed Jonas through into P2, but it's a disaster for Cam, who I'm sure will end up taking a visit to the steward's office after this race if there was clear contact between the two of them. Meanwhile, he's got his head down, and now he's made contact with Jonas, and he's gone well off, and that's going to surely drop him down a couple of places. It certainly does, as he's down to 4th place, as Evan Dalton, on his first night back in TGP1, now finds himself in a podium position, but the Confessor is in 13th.
Yeah, he is. He's all the way down to 13th. The Confessor, luckily for him, he's not in the title fight, but he is still battling down the man for 3rd in the championship by looks of the latest standings I see. So he don't want to lose that many more positions. He's going to have to make a recovery. Don't think he's got any damage though, so he might be able to be okay with that.
Oh, it's such a shame. We were being set up to such a great race. And what is it with championship contenders tonight and getting involved in silly incidents? He just didn't need... I mean, he was getting close, and it's just as if he forgot to brake. Disastrous. Meanwhile, we've got... look at this, Evan Dalton getting quite racy behind Jonas, and in what is the battle for 2nd place now, and Cam's still with the two of them. Sorry?
DRS is open this lap as we see Evan Dalton looking to the outside at turn 4 off Jonas. Is he going to try and make the move stick? No, well, yes, actually.
Oh my goodness! Oh, just disastrous for the both of them, as Jonas is in the wall, I think, and Evan Dalton found himself spinning down the order, and something about 2nd place in the 2nd and 3rd of the race today, Owen, because they came to blows a lap earlier and just a lap later. 2 different drivers involved this time, but just being squeezed off the track too much, it looked like there. Evan Dalton, who had the right to some space, but Jonas didn't fancy leaving him some, at least from my angle it seemed. Yeah. And unfortunately for the two of them, sent spinning round and tumbling down the order.
Yeah, I'd say that was a fair assessment. It looked like the same from my angle as well. Jonas just didn't quite leave Evan the space that he was entitled to on the exit of that corner. Try to squeeze him out on the exit, and Evan was just having none of it. He was just like, nah, you're not doing that to me, and they both ended up round because of it. Meanwhile, Dan the man looking to the inside of Matt Tibos and puts himself up into P3. Bit of a train was falling behind Matt Tibos, so Dan the man is going to be pretty glad that he's got to the front of that. Although Tibos is going to have the DRS this time round on the back straight, is he? Yes, he is. So he's going to try and make a move back again in turn 4. He's going to look to the outside. Meanwhile, an overtake core up into P5 as well. They're side by side, Tibos and Dan, and Tibos has got himself back into P3.
Yeah, Dan sort of made the move too early there, didn't he, really? And now he's got caught, giving him some attention behind. He didn't really want to... P3 getting so close to making contact as well. I can't deal with more cars running into each other at this point. Just to give you an update on those that have had incidents so far, Cam is in P2. The Confessor's worked his way back up to P10, and Evan and John are back on the same piece of track again. So that battle could resume in a few laps' time. Softy, 2-second advantage over Cam at the moment, who I have to say is probably going to be facing a penalty after this race, which would be disastrous for his championship hopes unless something happens to the driver in front of him. So keep an eye on the TGP Series Twitter account later on for any news on that. But meanwhile, it's Alistair Bain who's the one looking to make a move, and it's Court who's his prey. But at the moment, at least, the Predator is not in a good position to make a move. And I've just realised I shouldn't have referred to Alistair as a Predator. That was very much the wrong word.
Well, that is an interesting choice of words you've gone with there. As we see Dan the Man looking to the inside of Tibos. No, can't quite make the move stick in turn 4. But this group, well, this train from Tibos is all the way down to Aiden in 10th. It's about an 8-car train, this battle. And then it's 4.5 seconds back to...
Oh, something's happened to Alistair. Alistair's had a spin, and he's dropped all the way outside the top 10 behind Johners. And, disastrous for him. You were just saying there, Owen, it's a great battle. It's now between 3rd and 9th, really. Any of these drivers could be within a shout of a podium.
Yeah, and the Confessor, it wouldn't be all bad news for him, because he is right at the back of this train after having that spin early doors.
That's good for the good comeback from the Confessor. You're quite right. I hadn't noticed that he was really involved in this. And look, he's trying to get past Jovial Manatee at the moment. Doesn't even really need the DRS. Before the DRS was involved, he's pretty much side by side. But now Roy has got the DRS as well. They're sort of level. Oh, these bloody cameras. There we go. He moves up into 7th place and can focus his attention further ahead. I think he was just inside DRS, so he should have DRS on the run down to turn number 4 as well, and he does.
Yeah, well, Dan the Man and Matt Tibos have swapped positions. The Court has taken advantage. Dan the Man's been mugged there by his teammate and Matt Tibos. He's gone from 3rd to 5th in one straight. Court took advantage and just sat in Tibos' stream, slipstream. That's the word. And took advantage of that, and now they're side by side.
Yeah, it's Dan's just picking the wrong moment to make these moves, isn't he, Owen? I think that he just needs to sort of sit and wait until... Oh, and Court's just sitting to the inside of Matt Tibos. I've just gone the wrong way on my camera direction, and and I thought that he was about to make his way up into P3 with an audacious move towards the end of Sector 2, but he's let Dan the Man through instead.
Yeah, it's all getting very tasty in this group battle for third down to 9th. They're all still all together. Just don't know where to look in this battle because they're swapping positions left, right.
Here Dan goes again. He's going to try. No, he thinks better of it this time. Maybe he's listening to our stream. I'd appreciate it if he is. But the Confessor's just picked up a penalty. He comes into the pits, but he's picked up a 5-second penalty, which unless he makes a 2-stopper, he's going to have to serve at the end of this race. Matt Tibos now, without the DRS, is under attack from the 2 Alpines. They're going in formation, and Dan the Man has certainly got to the inside. Court fancies it as well. There's a little bit of contact on the edge of the turn number 4 there, going through turn number 5, but Matt Tibos looks to have done just enough. And the lag, goodness me, I thought there was about to be an airplane crash, but there is a contact, and Matt Tibos has joined the long list of drivers that have been sent spinning around in this race. He started the lap 3rd, and as he leaves a cracking set of 11s on the floor, but he's going to finish the lap at best 8th.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, you were saying there was lag. We thought they were going to have an incident beforehand, and they ended up having an incident a little bit further around the corner in the end, as Machine Island is now all over the back of Court, and the Alpines are now running 3rd and 4th. But
yeah, good race for them thus far.
Kurt's Airs light is flashing, so he has not got much airs to defend against, as we see Cam into the pit lane.
Yeah. Dan's left. No, that's not good news for Alpine. And Dan, who left just before qualifying started, clearly having internet troubles, and he's now leaving his teammate to fight alone. And, well, he can't do very much about that. Williams, who's darted through and up into what is now 2nd place after Cam's pit stop and Dan's disconnection, and Dan is tumbling down the order. He's in 6th place now, and soon he's going to be gobbled up by the likes of Matt Tibos behind as well. So, interestingly, Cam has come out of the pit, still 4.7 seconds clear of the Confessor. Jonas and Dom are in the pits as well at the moment. They're just coming out of the pits, actually. So we will see. Dan the Man has come back now, but it's a little too late, as Court's got back past Machine Island. I didn't see that. I was too busy watching Dan.
No, he got past in that middle sector. He pulled off a great move, and now he's back in front and has a bit of urge to use this time. He's no longer got the blinking light.
Someone's had a massive off. Oh, it's Joe. Sorry, it's Joe Corboy.
It's Joe Corboy.
Softy's pitted. Court's pitted. Machine Island's pitted. Jovial Manatee's pitted.
Back of him.
Oh my goodness me.
Machine Islands ran into the back of Court coming into the pit lane. Court's got a 5-second penalty because of it, but that's not even his fault, and they're both going to need a front wing change from that.
Oh goodness me, wow, that is cool. Machine Island is getting the front wing changed. Did Court I don't think did get a change of front. Oh, actually no, he did. He's fallen quite far back. That's disastrous for the two of them. The Confessor set the fastest lap of the race as he now moves up into effectively a net P3. It's extraordinary.
P3 after all that, because them two decided to have an accident on the pit lane entry. Confessor pitted a lap earlier, had the clean run in the pit lane as well. Despite having the 5-second penalty, he has put himself up into net P3, and he's 5 seconds clear of the now P4 runner, Jovial Manatee.
No one wants to finish on the podium in this race, it seems. Actually, look at this. Look at this, Owen. Cam is just 7/10 of a second behind Softy. Game on.
It is game on up the front. Cam is very much all over the back of Softy now.
He has used a lot of his battery,
though. But Softy pitting a lap later, though, has meant that he's come under pressure from Cam on his outlap.
Extraordinary stuff. And Cam sets the fastest lap of the race, and he's barely got any battery left. Softy's got quite a bit to defend with, but for the moment at least, Cam is in a good position to pounce on the racetrack, and if he can stay with Softy, perhaps recharge a bit of his battery, as long as he can stay within DRS, he might have a shot of at least on the road winning this race. But it wouldn't surprise me. I don't want to predict what the Stewart's outcome is going to be, but I'd be very surprised if we don't see a post-race penalty for Cam in this race. I've got to be honest with you, but nonetheless, we'll see how that goes. The Confessor obviously with a 5-second penalty as well, but at the moment got plenty in hand over Jovial Manatee, who's in 4th place. Aidan Griffin's up to 5th. Dan, who has joined back into this race, is in 9th place, putting pressure on Machine Island with his good friend Johners.
Yeah, Johners, Machine Island, Dan the man now battling over 7th, 8th and 9th, when they were battling over 3rd, 4th and 5th earlier in this race. Just how the turntables in this Grand Prix and in TGP1s might.
Yeah, it can do, and he will be. Both Dan and John have been involved in incidents of very different kind. I think John has got to take the blame for the incident that he had with Evan, which was a big shame for Evan, who's down in 11th now. He's just made his way past Dom Smith in a big gaggle of cars. Look at that, but look at Dan! Look at Dan! Sorry, I was waffling on as Dan the man is making 2 places up at once. Extraordinary stuff.
Yeah, he thread the needle beautifully there, Dan the man, in that Alpine. He was onto the inside of Johners, then switched, found just enough space to switch to the outside of the Williams driver and get himself back up into P7. Now he's going to chase down his teammate for P6.
And Machine Island and John battling, and on the outside finds himself Machine Island, who's on the hard tyres. I didn't see that. No wonder he's struggling. The rest of them are on soft, and Matt Tibos is going to be there in a minute, who we saw spinning earlier on, but trying to get his head back in the game.
Yeah, he is trying to get his head back in the game. He still could get some decent points from this Matt Tibos, the way this Grand Prix has gone, though. So he's down in 10th at the moment, but he is on that back end of that battle for P7. Yeah,
well, he's putting himself in a good place, at least, so let's see how this gets on. And Machine Island, Matt Tibos. Obviously, Machine Island is still within a second of John is in front, so still will be getting the benefit of DRS. It's down the man, closing in on his teammate Court as well, who had to change a front wing and has a 5-second penalty. But Matt Tibos then putting a move on Machine Island, and as they get to turn number 1, he's up into 9th place and now can turn his attentions back to Johners again.
Yeah, he can. He's going to be very much all over the back of him. Machine Island's picked up a time penalty as well. So poor strategy and a time penalty, not going well towards the back end of this race for Machine Island. Meanwhile, Tibos, because of the DRS on that Aston Martin in front of him, based off the Alpine, means he couldn't really make a move into turn 4.
No, he couldn't. And Cam's still staying within half a second of Softy as well is interesting. So we will see how that develops as the race goes on. Machine Island getting very close to the back of Matt Tibos there. really want to see another incident. And Aidan Griffin's also putting pressure on Jovial Manatee in front. But the top three, well, the top two are very much in the league of their own. And then it's Confessor sort of in a race on his own. And then it's just like it's everyone else.
Yeah.
It's quite entertaining. I hope that you're all enjoying watching it from home as well.
Very close up the front, 2.5 tenths as they head towards turn number 4, Mike.
Yeah, I hope Jack Hickman's watching this one in his pants, because hopefully we're about to see a change for the lead as Cam's getting closer, and on the run into turn number 4. Just wasn't quite close enough.
Aidan's got Jovial Manatee 4 P4 now. So that is Aidan up into P4, Jovial Manatee back down to P5.
Yep, good stuff there from Aidan as we look further back as well. Jonas, Dan, Matt, Machine Island, all as they were as they head to turn number 4 once again. We have got 4.5 laps left of this race, and well, there's still a chance we could see a change for the lead.
Yeah, it is. 6 tenths is the gap between the two drivers, and it's stuck around that basically since the pit stop. Cam has been trying to get closer and closer, but hasn't quite been able to get close enough to try and pull off a move. Meanwhile, water is wet as Jack Pearson picks up another penalty.
Yeah. So, Cam, 8 tenths of a second back this time. I don't think he's going to be close enough. This blimmin' camera angle is doing my nut in. So I don't want to see what's going on behind Cam. Anyway. We are working our way through the first couple of corners, and he's still 6 tenths back, so not in a position to make a move just yet. Jonas, meanwhile, getting closer once again to Dan the Man, who's being put under pressure still from the likes of Matt Tibbles and Machine Island.
Yeah, this gaggle of cars 7th down to 10th has not really changed. Machine Island doing a bit more drifting though, and he has a wobble coming round turn 4 and loses the back of that train momentarily. Jonas looking to defend from Matt Tibos and does that DRS that he's getting off Dan the Man. Very Carlos Sainz, Lando Norris-esque from Singapore, that is, between those two.
Yeah, it just seems as if Court's keeping John Keane, doesn't it, really? Sorry, Dan keeping John Keane. And just doing enough, as you said, to keep him there. Meanwhile, the gap at the front pretty much a second now, so Cam's battery disadvantage. John gets a bit squirrely coming out of there. That might give Matt Tibos an opportunity, or at least a sniff, that this could be on. And I was just saying, the battle at the front seeming like it's reaching a conclusion, an early conclusion, unfortunately, for us watching. Meanwhile, Jovial Manatee starting to come back in Aidan Griffin's. Just 8 tenths of a second separate those two, as Matt Tibos once again suffering from lag, and once again putting my heart in my mouth. But Machine Island is in a good position now to pounce as those hard tyres starting to come clearly into their good working window. And on the run to turn number 1, he doesn't quite have the pace to get past the Haas. But he's making it very difficult for Matt Tibos to keep his attention solely focused on John in front, who's just picked up a 3-second penalty.
He has indeed. Meanwhile, Cam is closing on the back of Softy again. He's sticking within about that half a second window. It keeps fluctuating, that gap between about 5 tenths to 8 tenths. It's just kind of sitting there. Jovial Manatee all over the back of Aidan though, trying to get back that P4. And that battle is still raging on.
Oh, look at Matt Tibos up the inside. Well, it was opportunistic, to say the least. It caught Jonas maybe a little bit off guard, but it could actually pose disaster for Matt Tibos. But he's still on the inside, and at the on the inside of the next right-hander. He just needs a good exit now, and he does. And Machine Island fancies getting past the Aston Martin as well. And Jonas really struggling out there as he's lost a place to Matt Tibos and Machine Island.
And the Cam has dropped behind the Confessor.
Oh,
maybe Cam's gifted the Confessor back his position for the earlier spin.
That's very a very ideal world of you thinking, Owen. But as we see Machine Island sending one to the inside of Matt Tibos, I wonder if he's just had a spin. You know, maybe just really trying to catch Softy. But
well, didn't see any yellow flags though.
Well, we shall but see. I think it would have been very smart of Cam to have done so if he has, but I mean this in the best way possible. I don't know if he's that smart, but we'll see. Maybe he has really thought about this one. But Machine Island, meanwhile, has made his way past Matt Tibos and up into 8th place. So after Matt Tibos' heroics on the last lap, it just left himself open to attack in the end. I suppose as well, we got the Confessor who's got a 5-second penalty, haven't we? So
yeah, we have.
As long as he stays within 5 seconds, although would that mean that he ends up with a penalty anyway? I'd say if I was Cam, I'd probably drop 5 seconds back from the Confessor if that is what he's done.
If that's his strategy, yeah, I think you need to drop 5 seconds back if that's the actual plan. Jovial Manatee not quite quick enough to keep. He can't quite keep with Aiden in that middle sector and make a move. Meanwhile, Dan the Man is getting close to the back of his teammate as they start the final lap.
Yeah, John's getting very close to the back of Matt Tibos as well. So we'll keep an eye on this as we're seeing a switch, maybe a formation switch in the Alpine camp. And further back, we are seeing an Aston Martin overtaking a Haas. But John is running very wide there, and that might give Matt Tibos the opportunity he needs to come back at him in turn number 4. It seems like the Alpines are going to stay line astern. And for the moment, at least, I say that as Court looks like he's sending it to the inside of Dan, but thinks better of it. Matt Tibos looks like he's going to send it to the inside of Jean, thinks better of it. And as all of these drivers continue their battles on track, as Jovial Manatee, as you said, just not quite able to keep with the pace of Aidan Griffins in that middle sector. He's only 4 tenths back at the moment, though. We've lost Dan Morris from this race. We've lost Alistair Bain from this race. As we turn our attentions then to the man who's leading this race. We haven't really covered him much because he hasn't been involved in very much. But with just a few metres to go, Softy is going to cross the line and take yet another win. He had an off race last time out, but he's back on form in Brazil to take the win. The Confessor's going to cross the line in P2, and Cam is slowing down. This is good work. So yeah, he must have let him through, and as long as he crosses the line ahead of Aiden, he has got the 5 seconds he needs comfortably. I'll tell you what, it's only a 1.3 in the end to Aiden, so I think you're right, Owen. I was clearly doing Cam a disservice because he does finish P3 behind the Confessor. Aidan Griffins comes across the line in 4th. Jovial Manatee, just 2 tenths separated him from Aiden in 5th. Dan the Man was 6th. Matt Tibos 7th. Machine Island 8th. Court Gill 9th. After that penalty that he got for speeding in the pit lane, which I think will be overturned. So my thoughts are that Court should return to 7th place. John has came across the line 10th because he picked up a penalty, and then we had Evan Dalton in 11th. God, remember him? But my goodness me, that was non-stop, Owen.
That was non-stop. That was an action-filled race here in Brazil. Brazil normally can be quite an action-filled race, but we normally need weather to spice it up. Didn't need any weather to spice it up today.
We certainly didn't. And as Softy runs on to the podium with his Union Jack very much displayed. And is there a national anthem being played? We don't ever hear the national anthem. So
no,
I don't know
you hear the music for the champagne, but you don't hear the national anthems.
Yeah. So I can't say the British national anthem being played. Anyway, Softy is now... Sol Socus is covering and soaking Adrian Newey. Is Cam getting involved in the action as well? How jovial of them. Very good to see that they're having a good time on the podium, as they should do too. Very entertaining race put on by the 3 of them. Let's give you a rundown then of the provisional order. So Soft Cop is your race winner, the Confessor in P2. Cam, our pole sitter, and the man with the fastest lap, but could only manage 3rd place. Aidan Griffins was 4th with Jovial Manatee in 5th. Dan the Man was in 6th and Matt Tibos 7th. Machine Island 8th, Court Gill 9th, John is in 10th, Evan Dalton 11th, Dob Smith 12th with Wet Lemons 13th, Mr. Chiapelli 14th, Jack Pearson was 15th, Alistair Baines 16th, Joe Corboy did not finish, as was Dan Morris, as was Kong Hoffner, and it must be said as well, like we have already touched upon, these results are just provisional. Do please keep an eye on the TGP Series X account for more information as it comes out. But Owen, as I will usually ask my co-commentator, who is your driver of the night?
I think I'd have to go with the Confessor, to be honest. He quite won Texas in very convincing fashion, and then didn't really do anything wrong in this race. Yes, he picked up that penalty for speeding in the pit lane, but he ended up further down the field because he got nerfed by Cam early doors and still ended up with a result of 2nd place. So I'll probably go the Confessor. Yeah,
I think that's fair. He put on a good show, didn't he? And that was actually what he needed to do. And he is, you're right, after that incident, he just kept his nose clean, didn't he? And, came up with the goods, actually, in the end. So, good work from him. Well, there we have it. Another entertaining evening. I hope you've all enjoyed it. We've certainly enjoyed it up here in the commentary box. And we will be seeing you next week for the final week of this TGP1 season. And where we'll be racing in Las Vegas and then moving on to Abu Dhabi for the final night of TGP1 action for season 40, and we will very much look forward to seeing you there. But in the meantime, at least, as I said, do keep an eye on the TGP Series X account and the Instagram accounts for information and updates. And I think I even saw someone in our comments tonight, Owen, saying they want to apply to join. If you'd like to apply to join, do please message Dom on the TGP Series account. Owen, any final words before we sign off?
No, I've got no final words other than we've got the season finale next week, and it's going to come down to the wire, this championship.
Excellent. Well, we've very much enjoyed having you for the company. We've certainly enjoyed doing the commentary. But for now, at least, it is good night. Thank you very much all for watching. This has been a TGP Series production. I've been Mike Noon. He's been Owen Quemby. But for now, at least, we will see you on PS4. Good night.